We're ranking every KFC menu item in the US and the UK. This is the Food Wars tier list. We'll begin by comparing items you can find in both countries, starting with the original recipe chicken.
Let's break it down piece by piece. Starting down here, gonna go ahead with the drumstick. Come on, the classic. Maybe my favorite shape. Love this one, because it's like the easiest to hold. It's got its own little handle here.
So my thing is that I actually think the piece of chicken that you get makes a big difference to your overall KFC experience. Generally speaking, the drums I've had from KFC in the UK tend to be very soggy.
Whenever I have this, I feel like a lord, right? From the 1600s, being like, yes, chicken, bring on the jester. Ah.
I think compared to the other pieces as well, you get a lot more like of the gristle, like that nubbin on the end of the chicken piece that it's just really unpleasant to eat.
And for that, the drumstick gets A tier. Oy!
For all of those reasons, I'm going to start the drumstick all the way down in D tier.
A D? Are you out of your mind, Harry? Don't listen to that man. Don't listen to him.
Next up, we have the thigh piece. I personally love chicken thighs. I think dark meat for me is always going to be the better option, particularly when you're frying chicken.
The thigh, I mean, it feels a little bit like a smaller breast, which is like, yeah, okay. But here, getting it like right here, getting the... It's a good bite.
Overall, I think the thigh piece, when it comes to the original recipe chicken here in the UK, is my favorite one. And for that reason, it's going up in A tier.
It's no drumstick. I'm going with the B. Oy. Ugh.
The wings from a KFC in the UK aren't part of the original recipe bucket. The wings are on the menu, but they count as hot wings.
I mean, it's not like a chicken wing, right? Where you're used to like just going to town on them.
The breading is different, and I actually really like these. You get these little like flecks of batter, which actually hold their crisp pretty well. This actually might be my favorite piece of chicken that is on the entire KFC menu in the UK, and for that reason, it's going right up in S tier.
Wings a C. You're a C piece of meat.
The next original recipe piece is the keel. In case anyone's wondering what a keel is, it comes from the breast of the chicken. You see it's kind of still got the breastbone, that kind of cartilage running straight through the middle of it.
The breast, the front piece, the bad boy. Look at the size of this piece of chicken.
One thing I do like about this is that the bone is actually really easy to just get rid of. So I think it's quite good in terms of like the effort to reward ratio.
If I'm mobile, I want the drumsticks. If I'm sitting and having my meal, definitely going breast. So breast is going in the A tier.
It's gonna be B tier for me. The last original recipe piece is the chicken rib. One thing I like is that because of the shape of it, you do end up with quite a lot of like edges that can go a bit more crispy. So the batter on this is actually still kind of crispy. It's got all these bones running throughout it. So it ends up being like a bit challenging to actually get all of the meat off it cleanly without just ending up with a mouthful of bone. I'd say for me, all in all, this probably goes into the B tier with that keel.
Our first boneless piece of chicken to enter the chat is, of course, the classic KFC tender. Yeah. Whoa.
We also have mini fillets in the UK. Yes, we call them fillets, not fillets. This is effectively a chicken tender. These are fine. Slightly controversially, I actually think other places in the UK do chicken tenders better than KFC does. I think in a street fight, I would be backing the McDonald's Chicken Selects over the KFC chicken tenders.
Tenders are fantastic. Tenders is the A piece, and a higher A.
For me, this goes actually quite far down in C tier. Now we're onto the sandwiches, or as we call them in the UK, burgers. The default in the UK is the KFC fillet burger. It's hard to identify exactly why we call this a chicken burger here in the UK. I think it's just kind of one of those like unspoken rules that everyone kind of gets over here. The standard burger in the UK is a toasted sesame seed bun, a chicken fillet, lettuce, and mayo.
The US version, the KFC chicken sandwich. Look, after 4+ years of doing KFC stories, what else can I say about this absolutely fantastic sandwich? I've been to the UK, I've had their version of this, doesn't even touch it. I feel, overall, the KFC fried chicken sandwich is one of the best fast food chicken sandwiches, full stop. I've had all of them. I've had all of them. This is my job, people. I have had all of them, and I'm telling you, this might be the best one.
It's just fine. It's okay. It's a bit dry. There's mayo on the bottom bun, and they've been relatively generous with it. But I think it needs more. I think even like mayo both sides might help this.
Amazing taste in the chicken. Perfectly balanced with the mayo. I don't even mind the pickles. And of course, I believe this is a brioche bun, chicken sandwich perfection. All right? Hey, fight about it in the comments. I ain't gonna read them.
I think for me, just because it's kind of very standard and very normal, this will go in B tier.
Standing up out of frame to decree that this is the first entry into the KFC S tier. Yay! Hooray!
Actually, yeah, no, on second thoughts, the more I chew that and the less moisture I have in my mouth, I actually think I've made a mistake there. This can go further down. We have our first borderline ranking in the UK. It's a B/C. In both countries, we also have a smaller version of the chicken sandwich. Here is our mini fillet burger.
The chicken little. It is little, all right. I don't know who this is for. Maybe you're getting a regular KFC meal and you want to like have this as an appetizer. Like you eat this driving home because you can't eat fried chicken and drive, at least you shouldn't.
If anything, that's even more dry somehow. So I think that one's actually gonna go down in C.
Putting the chicken little, low B tier. Almost C.
Here are the UK signature fries from KFC. I almost feel bad for KFC at this point because they have been bullied into changing their fries recipe like 3 times, I think, and they're still not great.
But here they are, the fries. Maybe my favorite fast food fries. Come at me, internet.
They're actually not that bad. Like the seasoning mix is good. I think for me, it's more of a texture thing, and they just tend to be a bit more on the soggy side.
These are fantastic fries. I love them. I'm debating, are these A tier or S tier? I guess I'll stay A, but I'm gonna be like up here.
KFC fries, I think, are moving in the right direction, but for me, are still not there. And honestly, I think they're a C tier. Here are the UK KFC mashed potatoes. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I've ever had these before. This is interesting. If I turn out to love these, then maybe they will become a regular part of my order. Not half bad. The texture is very smooth, if a little bit solid for my liking. Flavor-wise, they're really not bad. We're probably looking at like a solid B tier for the KFC mash. Next up, we have KFC's famous gravy. I personally adore this stuff. I think it's fantastic. We do have a big gravy culture here in the UK. I could just drink this from the cup, and I'm going to. It's got that interesting texture, which I think is mostly just like cornstarch. A little bit more gloopy, maybe, than Brits are used to from gravy. My only question about the KFC gravy is why it's classed as a side rather than a sauce. Coming into today's episode, I was ready to give this an S tier, but actually I think that would be slightly overselling it. So I think it's gonna be a little borderline S/A tier.
Mashed potatoes are fine, right? Good flavor to them, but what these potatoes could use is, of course, some gravy. Can I just take a hit of gravy? Yeah, the mashed potatoes and gravy together are a really good classic combo, right? Who doesn't love mashed potatoes and gravy? The mashed potatoes and the gravy together, that's an A tier side, possibly an S tier side. But separately, as we're doing everything one at a time, sorry guys, you're like Outcast. Better together than separate. So, here you go. You're in the B tier. When mashed potatoes and gravy decide to do their album together, they'll be back in the A tier. But for now, no, sorry guys. The solo projects ain't working.
One thing I do want to try is combining the gravy with the mash, because I know that's an American thing, and it's not as much of a thing at fast food places over here. I've been doing fast food videos for like 4 years now, and I don't think I've done this before at a UK KFC. This is really good. The gravy with the mash, if that was a menu item, I might be looking at S tier, you know? To be clear, I've absolutely combined gravy and mashed potatoes before. What I'm saying is, in a meal at KFC, I don't think I've ever done it. And then our final side is coleslaw.
Coleslaw, I mean, it always smells kind of weird.
This upsets me quite a lot. Oh, you get a tiny little cautious mouthful.
Actually, it's pretty good coleslaw. I'm going C, baby. C tier on the slaw.
Ugh. Anytime mayo has been sat in a bag right next to a bunch of hot food, it's just not worth selling. It's really bad. It's actually going to be our first E tier. Now it's time for the sauces, which means it's time for the Sauce Talk Tiny Board. Sauce Talk Tiny Board. Enough of that nonsense. This is a serious show. The first sauce we have here in the UK is the spicy supercharger mayo. I think spicy mayo in general is like one of my favorite condiments, and I think KFC actually does a really good job of producing one. So for me, straight up in S tier.
The KFC Sticky Chicky. I don't know what that goes good with. I'm gonna put that in a C tier. Ugh.
Next up, we have a sweet chili dip. I was kind of split on like A or B for this, so I might go somewhere in the middle. We'll go for a nice A/B.
Moving on, next thing we got is the KFC sauce. I feel like it's like a buffalo ranch mustard. Whatever it is, I do like it. It's KFC sauce, gets an A. Bing.
Next up, we have a real tomato sauce, as opposed to all the imaginary tomato sauces that other places sell. I'm curious about this one because KFC does have ketchup on its menu, and I want to see how different this is to just a regular ketchup. I was hoping to conclusively get proof that this is different or better when compared to ketchup, but honestly, it's not. I'm not really sure why you would have that on the menu when ketchup exists. So for me, we're actually gonna have a E-tier sauce. Pointless.
Classic ranch. Ugh, ranch. This country and ranch. It's perfectly fine. It's the epitome of middle of the road. So I'm gonna put it in the middle of the board. Ranch could disappear tomorrow and I honestly wouldn't notice.
Next, we have a garlic buttermilk mayo. It's really good. It's somewhere between like a garlic mayo and a ranch. I think a solid A tier for the garlic buttermilk mayo.
Someone over at KFC was like, why don't we just add buffalo sauce to ranch? Better, an improvement, but I don't know.
And then here we have a smoky barbecue dip. I'm not typically a barbecue sauce guy, but honestly, like of all the barbecue sauces I've had from fast food places, that ranks really highly. Still not my favorite, but that's kind of a personal preference thing. I think this has earned a spot in B tier.
Yeah, barbecue, I mean, as far as fast food, barbecue, just no specific region, it's a B.
KFC in the UK also stocks Heinz ketchup and Heinz mayo. Fried chicken and ketchup to me just isn't a pairing that particularly works, so we'll put that one down in C tier. And last but not least, we have classic mayo, which I think for me is just gonna be D tier.
I don't like honey mustard. I mean, I don't hate it. I think out of all these, I would pick honey mustard last. I'm going D, high D, a D+, but honey mustard, get out of here. All right, now the last three, honey, hot sauce, and ketchup. Honey, I mean, who am I rating here? B's? I might have printed out two of the same one. This doesn't look like honey, but this represents honey. It's honey, straight from the hive, I assume. It's fantastic. So I'm gonna give the honey sauce a high A. Not an S though. Work harder, B's, make it sweeter. Hot sauce, you know, KFC, don't sleep on this hot sauce. They don't really push it on people, but if you wanna give your chicken some nice heat to it, I definitely recommend the hot sauce. So that's also gonna go in the A tier, along with the honey that the B's made. That's right. Maybe make some hot sauce, B's. You ever think about that? And last but not least, ketchup. I'm gonna go ahead and put the Heinz Corporation's flagship product in the S tier. Oh, just because, I mean, it's ketchup. Actually, no. I can't put ketchup in S tier and then honey in a naturally occurring thing in the environment isn't as good as man-made ketchup, so that's gonna go A2. I give the B's a break because we're slowly killing them all in our environment. These sauces are made to pair with so many different things in the menu and also please such a wide audience. So everything being concentrated in the A and B area for both here and the UK, it makes sense.
Unsurprisingly, we have some exclusive chicken items here on the UK menu. We're starting with a classic, which is popcorn chicken. I still don't really understand why these disappeared from the US menu a couple of years ago, because for me they are so iconic to KFC. We don't have nuggets over here on the UK menu, but I don't miss them because popcorn chicken for me fills that same role and does it very well. For me, these are a solid A tier.
Ladies and gentlemen, maybe the most crucial menu item for KFC. I haven't been around the world, but I've definitely been to the UK, and I know for a fact that still, for some reason, they do not have this extra crispy fried chicken. I mean, I want to start an online petition for this to be the regular standard chicken, and then everything else is just like, you get it less crispy. I love this so much. It's so fantastic. Because this chicken is extra crispy, I even went ahead and made it an extra crispy meme. How do you like that? And it is, of course, the second addition to the coveted S tier. I know the UK likes to snub their nose at our fast food. Oh, oi, mate, it's too many chemicals. Oi, mate, it's like a chemistry class. Oi, mate, and other stuff. Fine. But when you come to our country, just get the extra crispy.
KFC execs, if you happen to be watching this, Colonel Sanders, if you're watching this, please give the UK the extra crispy chicken. That is how fast food fried chicken should be. Ours is not like that, and I want it to be.
KFC, they had popcorn chicken for a while, then they didn't, and then they switched it, they made it bigger, and they call it nuggets. This is one of the nuggets right here. Everyone see that? Nugget, right? These are really good. I think the perfect size. There's really good pieces of meat, you know, good breading. Overall, I think nuggets here are fantastic. The KFC nuggets, which this image has sauce on it, so I think I grabbed the wrong one, but this represents the KFC nuggets. Ooh, another S-tier entry, yeah!
So we don't have nuggets here in the UK, but what we do have are these dipped bites. They come in 2 flavors. Here we have the Kansas barbecue dipped bites, and you can also get sweet chili dipped bites. I've said it before, and I'll say it again now, I don't like these. I don't mind a bit of sauce on my chicken. I would go so far as to say I like a bit of sauce on my chicken, but this is way too much. I was gonna put these in D tier, but honestly, just like having seen them again and trying them, they just make me annoyed. Like what was the game plan here? These are going in E.
KFC is currently, and I don't know if it's a permanent menu thing, doing like these saucy nuggets. A little annoying that the new menu items are just literally a sauce, pouring it on something else, but I mean, considering they've been doing the famous bowl for a while, KFC is not shy for just taking one thing and another thing, sticking it together and being like, behold, a new menu item. I mean, even this one right here, you can see they didn't even like get the whole thing covered. They just poured, you see that? They just poured it on there. I think this is Korean barbecue. That is so salty. I think I'm going D on this one. Oh man, this is the honey barbecue. Maybe honey can save this one. I really think it's the barbecue. D. They were supposed to give us a honey sriracha. Unfortunately, something happened. We don't have the honey sriracha ones, but I did try them during a KFC 2.0 episode, which came out a few weeks ago, which you haven't watched yet. Watch after this, put them into a playlist, and send it to all your friends. But when I did have the honey sriracha back then, I was not impressed. Honey sriracha for this one, I'll be kind and put it in the C tier. Let's try this one. Ooh, mango habanero. Oh my goodness. The Colonel just shut me up. Smack. Wow, these are spicier than I thought they were gonna be. Now the sweetness of the mango, to me, is much better than the sweetness of the honey. Again, bees, please, I am an ally. But with the honey flavor, it's like too just like sweet, like sugary, where the mango habanero gives it a nice fruit flavor that pairs perfectly with the spiciness of the habanero. I actually really like that. So for that, mango habanero, oh, you're getting an A, baby. There's hope for these nuggets. Moving on. Honey garlic. That's actually pretty good. I'll give that an A. And last but not least, Chipotle Ranch. It's actually pretty good. I'm very surprised by that. That also gets an A tier. Ugh. Wow. So I guess the lesson here is some of the sauces are good, some of them are borderline inedible. Wide variety going on here.
The UK KFC menu has a ton of exclusive burgers, still not sandwiches. Generally what they've done is take that same chicken fillet and add a few different ingredients each time. The first one is the fillet tower burger. When you see tower burger on the menu in the UK, that means they've added some sauce, some cheese, and a hash brown. For me, the addition of the hash brown, as well as that additional sauce, does help to combat some of the dryness issues that the regular fillet burger faces. Also with the hash brown being there, it definitely bulks it out a bit, feels very satisfying as a burger. I think overall this is an improvement on the regular one. I actually think this is gonna be an A tier burger. Next up, we have the barbecue fillet tower burger. Exactly the same, but instead of a tomato sauce on the top, they add some barbecue sauce. I'm putting this one down to personal preference, but for me, I prefer the tomato compared to the barbecue, so this can be a B tier. Here we have the Zinger Supercharger Tower Burger. A few things to break down there. The Zinger refers to the seasoning on the patty itself. A Zinger sandwich is like our version of a spicy chicken sandwich. Combine that with the Supercharger mayo that they add as the condiment on this one, and you have yourself a serious burger. I think all in all for me, this is probably the best sandwich on the menu at a UK KFC, and for that reason, we have another S tier. Speaking of zingers, we also have a regular Zinger burger. Same composition as the fillet burger, but with that spicier breading. It does suffer from that same lack of moisture that the regular fillet burger does, but the flavor of the Zinger I think is enough for me to take it to A tier. And then finally we have the Zinger Stacker. This thing is an absolute unit. Look at it. Ugh. The stacker refers to the fact that there are 2 chicken fillets in this one. You're also getting the sauce on top of it, which in this case I think is actually the sweet chili one. There's cheese on the top and also the middle layers, and there is Supercharger mayo underneath. Ooh. I mean, that is a serious burger. Just the size of it is impressive, but also because you're getting the sweet chili and the Supercharger and the Zinger breading, got a real spice to it, which I really appreciate. Lettuce, mayo, cheese, all playing their part. It's really good, and I think honestly, we can join up in ST, you know?
The only exclusive sandwich we have here in the US is the spicy chicken sandwich. Folks, how can you improve on an arguably perfect chicken sandwich. I'll tell you how. I'm making it spicy. I really love this sandwich. Oh, what a fantastic sandwich. I love it so much, I shall stand up out of frame once again to declare this sandwich also booyah, S tier.
We also have a range of twister wraps here in the UK. Thinking about it, I'm not sure where the twist element comes into these because they are just wrapped like a normal burrito, but hey. The twister wraps are fundamentally the same, but the sauce changes depending on which one you get. For example, here we have the Supercharger twister wrap. It's a flour tortilla with a chicken fillet, a slaw, which is made with red cabbage, carrot, and some other vegetables, and then a sauce. This one has the Supercharger sauce on it. They're really not bad. I actually like the way that they've toasted the flour tortilla. You get like a little bit of that char on the outside. I think they could maybe have had a little bit more sauce because it is slightly on the dry side with that chicken, with the tortilla, but the sauce is pretty good, adds a bit of crunch, a bit of freshness. I think for the supercharged mayo one, I'm gonna go with an A/B. The smoky barbecue one probably again comes below that, mostly on personal preference. And the sweet chili wrap, probably another A/B. We also have a flaming mini wrap on the menu. I'm not sure exactly what makes this flamin'. It seems to have mayo and supercharger mayo on there, along with some lettuce instead of that slaw. It's got a charm to it, but in the sense that it's like something you would make yourself as a child if left alone in a kitchen. So I think this is probably going to be a C tier item. When it comes to exclusive sides, we only have a couple here in the UK. Firstly, we have corn on the cob. I actually really like KFC's corn. Hard to explain why exactly, because it is just kind of corn on the cob. It's not particularly seasoned, it's not particularly buttery, but I just kind of like it.
Exclusive sides, we got a few. Starting down here, the KFC famous sweet corn. What makes it exclusive? KFC over there in the UK, they got the corn on the cob, our corn off the cob. Corn, come on, it's corn.
It's just always very juicy, it's always sweet. I think I'm probably going to put this in a nice B/C tier.
I mean, I like corn. Yeah, complete the meal right here. Let's put an A tier.
Probably not to the surprise of Americans, we have baked beans on the menu at a UK KFC. These are slightly different to normal UK baked beans in that they are slightly less tomatoey and sweet compared to like a Heinz baked beans, for example. They are pretty good. As far as like sides for fast food go, could be worse. I'm struggling with where to put these, you know. They are tasty. I question them as a fast food side, and they are different to the beans that most Brits would be used to. So I think actually they might join corn on that borderline, that B/C.
Next up, mac and cheese. Oh boy, I look forward to this. The mac and cheese at KFC. Come on. Creamy, cheesy, delicious, moist, flavorful. All the adjectives. Here we go. Oh, gotta stand all the way up because the mac and cheese is the S tier. On to this monstrosity. I can't believe it's still around. This is a tub of mashed potatoes, topped with gravy, chicken nuggets, corn, and cheese. It was better when they had popcorn chicken because the popcorn chicken sizes are smaller. Like this, to get everything in a bite. Look how big the chicken is on this. I really think that this is just a nightmare. I'm gonna be straight up with you. I'm sick of this thing. I'm sick of it. I think it's bad. I've never met a person who gets this regularly. If you're an American in America and you get this regularly, please tell us in the comments and defend it. I don't get it. No one ever gets this. I'm sorry, KFC. I love you and I want to defend you as much as I can, Colonel. But this thing, there's no defending it. That's a D, baby. D. A pot pie? I mean, this itself is also a meal. They make a pretty good pot pie here. The stew, whatever holds it all together, has a nice flavor to it. The chicken pieces, you know, succulent, nice big juicy pieces of chicken in there, and all the other stuff. And the pastry on here, low-key fantastic. It is really good. Like I could just like snack on this as a pastry. I don't envision myself ever really getting the pot pie very often, but whenever I get it for the show, I'm pleasantly surprised by it. I'll put it firmly in the B category.
Here are the UK salad options. These are split into a couple of categories. We have rice boxes and salad boxes. Gonna be honest, not excited by this section at all. We'll start with this one, the original recipe rice box. You get the seasoned rice, you get a chicken fillet, and then you have salad as well. The salad part consists of lettuce, tomato, and corn covered in salad dressing. I think this is technically kidney beans in the corner. So that one is the original recipe rice box, but you can also get a zinger version with the spicier chicken, and you can also just get a veg box. which is the beans, rice, and salad with no meat. Just because I'm kind of questioning like why they're here, who they're for. I'll go D tier for the regular one. I'm gonna go C/D for the zinger one, just because the addition of the zinger chicken at least has a bit more flavor to it. And for the veg box, that's a big ol' E tier. You can also get salad boxes, which are the same as these, but without the rice. So you just have the chicken and the salad. You can get that in both the original recipe form and in zinger form. I actually think this is almost slightly better than the rice box. I think you could kind of eat this and convince yourself you were eating like chicken Caesar or something like that if you really were delusional. So I think I'll put these ones probably in D tier as well, to be honest. For the original recipe salad box, we'll go D tier. And for the zinger salad box, this is a generous CD. If for whatever reason you have not had your fill of disgusting salads, then you also have a side salad option. This is the garden salad. It's the same stuff that you find, oh God. It's the same stuff that you find on the rice boxes, although this one doesn't seem to have any sauce on it. I actually really love this. This is probably one of my favorite things on the menu, so it's going straight down in E tier. Psych, got ya. And you can also get just a side of the rice. I think this is the worst side option on the menu by some margin at KFC. So I think this one is also going pretty firmly in D tier.
We have no salads here, hooray! Our KFC does have a few exclusive dessert items. Unfortunately, I was only able to get one today, and that is this, the chocolate chip cake. Assuming this is geared towards at least 2 people, but probably a family, I think it's interesting. This is one of the only fast food places we've covered that gives you like a whole cake, right? I don't have a fork. It looks like it doesn't have a lot of frosting on it, right? But it does actually have a really nice frosting flavor to it. Like it doesn't need any more. The cake is nice, but I don't want a whole cake of this. I would just like one portion to finish my meal off with. So because of that, I do think it is a pretty good effort of a cake. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna go B tier.
We do have a dessert option that you can't find in America, and it's the cookie. Here is the choc chip cookie from a UK KFC. It looks pretty good. Let's give it a try. It's actually a really good cookie. Got that nice balance where the center is quite gooey, outside like a little bit crispy. Really good chocolate chip cookie. Honestly, I think that's gonna be an A tier. Not quite good enough to be S, but a worthy addition for sure. I was told they had white chocolate chip cookies and the menu said that they did, but unfortunately they didn't give us any today. So we'll just have to imagine this as slightly worse because white chocolate chip is ultimately worse.
Exclusive drinks. Down here in the end, the legendary Mountain Dew Sweet Lightning. What is it? It's like sticking your tongue in an electrical socket and then biting into a peach. I don't know what else to tell you. If your car battery ever dies, just dump this on. You'll be able to jumpstart it, no problem. Good Lord. It's the most ridiculous beverage I think we've ever had in any Food Wars episode. And I absolutely love it. I don't know if I'm gonna go S all the way. I'm gonna go right there. And if you want your Sweet Lightning unpeached, got regular Mountain Dew, y'all. I don't know, Mountain Dew, it's a strong B. Now in the UK, their lemonade is like closer to our Sprite or 7-Up. It's a carbonated lemon beverage. Our lemonade is, well, it's not juice, but it's closer to juice because it's not carbonated and has more of a tart lemony flavor to it. It's just the perfect beverage for fried chicken, mashed potatoes, corn, all of it. So KFC's lemonade, S tier. Sweet tea, they love their tea over there in the UK. Here though, our tea has to just have a lot of sugar in it if it's iced. It's also a B. Last but not least, Starry. That's what I remember 7-Up tasting like, and I do not like 7-Up. So I'm gonna go ahead and go E for Starry.
KFC in the UK stocks Pepsi drinks. I didn't want to bore you all with my thoughts on Pepsi, Diet Pepsi, and Pepsi Max, but I did want to talk quickly about Tango. Tango in the UK is like Pepsi's alternative to Fanta. It's an orange flavored drink. I do like Tango. I think I maybe slightly prefer Fanta in a straight shootout between the two, but Tango is a pretty classic British beverage. If any Americans come to the UK, it's worth trying things like Fanta and Tango because we do make them with different ingredients, and I think generally they are much better. Our one beverage for me, I think Tango will go into B tier.
You know, looking at my tier list now, complete, this does make a lot of sense to me. I noticed that a majority of the items are up at the top in the S and the A. You know, I've always been a KFC fan. Looking at S tier, that's pretty much what I get when I go to KFC. Extra crispy, one of the sandwiches. I love the mac and cheese. I've noticed that the more experimental KFC gets, the less I like it. You know, the top, if I'm saying anything here, it's like, hey guys, stick to the classics. You do fried chicken and the sides and the sandwiches really well, but your sauces and your new beverages, those can go.
I think generally speaking, I'm pretty happy with my rankings. The highest concentration of items seems to be around the B tier, slightly leaning into the A as well. Obviously all the rice boxes and salads have come in pretty low, as well as those dipped bites, which honestly I think are just awful. One thing that's really interesting to me is actually seeing that I prefer the burgers on average to the chicken itself. I think the chicken in the UK does still leave quite a lot to be desired. It's just not that crispy, it's a little bit gristly, there's just a lot of room for improvement there. I'm really surprised to see Joe putting so many things in S and A over there. It's a much top-heavier ranking than mine is. My broad and slightly unsubstantiated take on KFC is that it just hasn't had that much competition in the UK for very long. For a while, they've kind of had a monopoly. Brits haven't been used to fried chicken, so we didn't really know what to expect. We are now starting to see places like Popeyes and Jollibee pop up in the UK more, and I'm hoping that the increased competition keeps KFC on their toes and they keep improving their recipes.
Thanks for watching this Food Wars tier list. If there's a chain that you want to see Harry and I take it to the tier list, let us know in the comments.